Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Not Fade This podcast. My name is Joshua Reimer. I'm joined by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Block. Jared, how are you doing on this fine Thursday afternoon?
Trying my best to number one get closer to baseball, number two try to handle all this breaking news and injury reports and stuff. It's just another one of those March NBA slates. 9 games for Thursday, so lots going on, but there's still like 20 people that are questionable on the injury report. And the other part of the story is like I felt really good writing up some of these top implied team totals, but spoiler alert, a lot of them are in spots where I think that these teams can just destroy their opponents, and we get some crazy blowout variants. So this is one of those days, man. Lots going on, and the best plays have some blowout risk.
For sure, definitely excited to talk about it. We can recap last night a little bit if you'd like. I know things went poorly on my end. RJ just didn't get the job done. And Donovan Mitchell was absolutely scorching, except for the second quarter where he ended up going 1 for 6. So ended up going 0-2 on my top two plays. How'd your night go overall?
Yeah, you know that whole Denver high implied total thing that we didn't really understand? Yeah, that
Uh
ended
huh.
up going extremely poorly. So Kevin Durant did well in the first half, and then the game ended up getting blown out. And then I did really like what we touched on in terms of the Hornets guys. Both LaMelo and Concanipo went berserk, so felt good about that angle. Yeah, lots going on today, so let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Let's cover where we all, or let's go where we always go first and talk about some injuries here. Yeah, have fun. I'm looking at this page now. So, full disclaimer, as always, I don't do research on Thursdays. Just here to host the show with Jared and talk some hoops. Looking at the injury report page now that I usually look at, and this is a bit of a mess. So, good luck with that.
A mess is an understatement. Like I think that we will probably just cover what is currently going on, and then if there's something that we need to touch on, we need to touch on in terms of like maybe an implied total or like something that comes up later on the show, we'll touch on it then. But the most important things on the card right now, we know that Victor Wemby is questionable. We know that LeBron is questionable. Tyler Hero is questionable for a Heat team that's in a very good spot today. Neesmith, Nemhard, and Vika Zubac are all questionable for the Pacers. Aaron Gordon got downgraded mid-afternoon, so we could see him rest on the second leg of a back-to-back. Derek White is questionable. We know that Pritchard is playing. We also need to wait on the Jason Tatum stuff, too, because they listed him questionable for this game as well. Where to go from here? Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable. Andre Drummond is questionable. We already know that Adam Bona and Joel Embiid are out along with the rest of those superstars. So interesting spot for the Sixers. Cam Spencer is one of like 8 guys on the Memphis injury report, though he's the only one listed questionable. From there, Giddy and Baselis should play for the Bulls in that spot, and then Jamal Murray's probable for Denver as well. Like I said, lots going on. I think the main pieces here, like Wemby and LeBron, and Tyler Hero, like I said, is in a very good spot. The rest kind of just feels like noise.
Yeah, definitely rest feels like noise. I would agree with you there. Um, Yeah, should be interesting. I'm definitely excited to hear about that. I don't know if you said it, but Kuminga and Daniels being questionable for Atlanta feels like
Yes,
something we pay attention to.
yes.
Grayson Allen being questionable for Phoenix probably feels like that too. But yeah, I'm sure we'll cover these spots more as we go. Jared, if you're ready, I'm ready. We can get into implied totals here.
Yep, let's get it.
Top implied team total of the day belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers, who have a 125.25 implied team total today. They are 11-point favorites, over unders at 238.5. This Lakers team's facing off against the Bulls tonight. We've seen back to back wins for the Lakers, which has been very good, both without LeBron. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Hopefully he sits tonight too, because I think Luka's in a good spot again. Obviously, I don't think that's. I think that's pretty simple math there, just with how bad this Bulls team has been, and especially on above the break threes. But give your thoughts on Luka, if LeBron plays, etc., etc.
Yeah, so we got some news on the Lakers about a half hour ago, and we know that Jackson Hayes and Maxi Kleber both got ruled out. With that said, they did not give any update on LeBron, unless I missed it. I don't think that I did. Marcus Smart also likely not playing for this side. So you start to feel good about, maybe we can talk about some peripheral pieces. I think you can't really solidify anything until you get LeBron James news. Lakers are 11-point home favorites. The pace of play stuff's really, really strong here. And we know that this is a matchup where the Bulls are allowing a lot of restricted area shots. And most importantly, they're just one of the worst teams in the league against above the break threes. Third worst in that regard in our sample size that we're rocking with the rest of the season. So with that said, it's not a secret. I know that you spoiled it for us a couple of days ago. This one's not going to be a secret. Luka is the top fantasy asset on the board today, and it's not really close. And it helps that. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if the LeBron news changes your mind. If we find out that LeBron's in or out, like, does that affect your? He's just been so much. The stats with him, without him, has just been. I honestly didn't know until I looked at it the other day, but it's just been such a difference for him.
I would say. I would call him the best fantasy asset on the card if LeBron was out, and then if he was in, he's probably closer to a lot of the highest implied team totals best players. That's where I'd rank it. And the Lakers, so I think there's 4 situations where we're kind of worrying about blowout given these home spreads with double digits. The Lakers have the lowest of those 4, so you kind of feel good about it from that end. And Chicago's injury report is a mess. We still have to wait for Sexton, Jalen Smith, and Okoro as questionable tags, but some of those guys are starting to get a little bit healthier and they're starting to play in more consistent chunks. So from those angles, yeah, I think that I still rank Luka at the top of the totem pole today, but there's certainly worlds where that gets a little bit closer if LeBron plays. I talked about the above the break stuff. Luka does rank first in the NBA over the past 2 weeks from that zone. He's basically almost making 4.5 threes per game in that time frame. So, yeah, a lot of really good stuff from the Luka Doncic side of things. LeBron is doing well from a restricted area scoring spot. Can I trust what he's going to put up night in and night out at this point of the season? I don't think you can, really. And if LeBron doesn't play, that opens the door for a lot of things. It opens the door for Reeves. It opens the door for what I would think would be a good, decent Hachimura spot. I wouldn't say great by any means necessary. Do you feel like you can trust Ayton? I know that's a tough question for you specifically, but no Hayes, no Kleba, maybe no LeBron. Can we get there?
I think so. He had a really good bounce back game against Minnesota, which is like not easy to do. That's Rudy Gobert defense. It's always going to be tough. And like I said, that was a really good game. He kind of just he really got the off. I don't know if you watched any of that Minnesota game, but both teams started shooting really poorly in that game. And it was like 1 for 10 in the first half. And I think in total they had about like 40 points coming into the second quarter. But Ayton's kind of what got that offense revamped and going. So I know he's been streaky. I know it's been hard to trust in the guy, but like the matchup is just that good. I'd be fine with going to Ayton at the end of the day. I think I'm more excited about Luka, especially with if LeBron ends up sitting. I'm probably a little bit more excited about Reeves too, but I think Ayton's like a fine third option in like a single game parlay.
That's kind of where I put that category. Yeah, I think you can like a lot of things. You just kind of have to wait for LeBron, and if you don't want to wait or don't have time, I think Luka threes is a fine play by itself.
Yep, I can certainly get behind that. All right. Let's move on to our next highest implied team total, which belongs to the Orlando Magic. They're facing off against the Washington Wizards. They have a 124.25 implied team total. They're 14.5 point favorites. Over under is 233.5. Give me your thoughts. Do we see a Bam-esque performance from Orlando tonight?
I mean, it's a mouth-watering matchup. Bam stuff aside, like this was going to be one of the better spots in general on the card. Problem is they are going to be close to 15-point home favorites, right? So you like the pace-up situation. We know the Wizards have the worst defensive rating in the NBA. We also know that the Wizards are essentially just allowing a ton of restricted area stuff as well as a lot of above-the-break three stuff. It's a very similar profiling spot from the teams facing off against the Bulls as well as this Wizards team. It's essentially quite the same profile. In terms of who you want from above the break and the restricted area combined, that guy's going to be Desmond Bane today. He's averaging around 12 points, actually closer to the 15 mark if you add the threes in there, off of roughly 10 shot attempts, and then Paolo is your main restricted area scorer. Not much of the above the break three spot, but you get my drift there. They're just gonna bleed points pretty much everywhere, and it's just a matter of like, can Bane and Banchero both get there? I think right now, if I had to choose, I'm probably leaning with. Man, that is actually a tougher question than I thought it would be. If you're choosing one of them, I think if you lean the zone argument, you lean Desmond Bane. But if you look at the DVP recency and over the course of the year, you lean Paulo. It's an interesting conversation. I kind of want your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was gonna give my thoughts on it. I was interested to see where you were gonna go with it. I think it is Banchero. Again, this is the guy who's coming in and kind of talking not out of his ass. I mean, I have a good idea of the NBA, but done no research today. But still, I lean Banchero. He's had two big performances against this team this year with 50 plus fantasy points in both of those. He had a 37-point game against this Washington team recently too. That was on March 3rd, so like just a week ago, about a week and a half ago. And I think at the end of the day, Bane's kind of been a little bit wishy-washy recently, whereas Banchero's been back to their primary scorer. He's had 25 plus points in 4 out of the last 5 games. He's had 24 plus points in 5 out of the last 6. He's had multiple 30-point games in this stretch as well. I kind of just like this Banchero spot. I also just see it as Banchero has to look at himself as the closest thing on this team to Bam and think,
Sure.
why not me? Why not me put up 80 points today? Do I think that's likely? No, but like I think you'll see this for the rest of the season against Washington, where any star is going to come into this matchup and be like, why can't I do what Bam did? Like Bam's not that, Bam's obviously a very talented player, but you get my point. Like everyone's going to feel like there's something to prove there, and I think Banchero has the easiest route to that type of outcome. So, yeah, I would lean Banchero. I understand your statement of saying like Bane's zone arguments make sense, and I would agree with that. Like I don't think Bane's a bad play. I think if I'm just going one or the other, it's going to be Banchero.
All of those reasons are definitely valid, and I think whenever our normal stance on blowouts is that like it's probably likely going to lead to one of these guys going berserk. And that's the reason they're up by 25 plus points and they don't play the fourth quarter. So you just take the good with the bad there. And I do think at the end of the day, you'd lean into the Banchero stuff a little bit more. I still like, if you wanted to do an SGP, I think that you can certainly take an outline of Bane threes to include that, just as long as you get some exposure to that. But yeah, probably when choosing one or the other and where to put that on like our big board rankings and stuff, I think Paulo's probably going to make the board more oftentimes than Bane.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. At least that's, and especially just like recency, like Banchero's been such a better scorer compared to Bane. Like Bane was really chugging along for a while, but Banchero's been the guy recently, and it's been fun to watch. All right, let's head over to this next team. It is going to be the San Antonio Spurs here with a 122.75 implied team total. They're 4.5-point favorites over the Denver Nuggets today with a 240 total for the entire game. Talk about a hard spot to break down when you don't know if their star player is going to play or not. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about San Antonio tonight?
Yep, that's just what we're given, right? So with that said, Wemby's played really well against Denver. He hasn't played against them this year, but he's played very well. He's had 50 plus fantasy points in 4 straight games against this team, dating back to last season. If he plays, he's one of the best fantasy plays on the slate every single night, and I can't make any extreme arguments on that front. When it comes to, we talked about this yesterday. I liked the Houston side a lot more. That it just didn't pan out, and Denver shot really well, and that game was over by the third quarter. So, with that said, Denver is allowing a lot of zone scoring issues right now. Like they're allowing a lot of points to the point guard position. They are allowing a ton of above the break threes. They're allowing a lot of paint, basically every single zone except the restricted area, which makes sense because Jokic is down there, can be exploited. And so I think that when you're looking at a lot of this stuff, Wemby's going to pop in a lot of categories because he also is one of the team's best 3-point shooters. So like, yes, he's going to profile extremely well from that angle if he ends up playing. If he does not end up playing, I think you can look at a lot of things. regardless of the situation, I think this is a really good De'Aaron Fox spot. I know that we haven't really been able to capitalize due to blowouts and a few other things that are out of our control. But point guards against Denver have been printing over the last 3 to 4 weeks or so. So I think that De'Aaron Fox does stand out tremendously. We also don't know if Harrison Barnes is playing, so like I kind of would have some interest in Champagny if we knew Barnes was out again. That'd be a spot where I think that he could get hot from three as well. Do I have any confidence in any which way of leaning, like where the spread goes if Wemby is not playing? Because I feel like it's priced in that he is playing. I don't have like any ultimate confidence of what to do if Wemby does not play, because I don't think that translates directly to like a Cornet spot. It's a weird one because I do have Wemby listed as playing and him being one of the better plays on the slate. It's just like he just might not play at all. So if you don't want to mess with that, just don't worry about this team at all. But I will say if Wemby does not play, that creates a monstrous situation for Joker on the other side. Like there would be nobody that could stop him.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be very interesting to see whether Wemby plays or not. Definitely agree that like if he is in, it's a really good spot for him. Denver's defense has been struggling against centers, but Fox feels like he's in a good spot. Denver continues to bleed points and assists to the point guard position. So, yeah, I can get behind everything you said. I don't have much to add there. All right. Sorry, I'm also looking at NFL stuff. I don't know if you saw, but the Niners signed Dre Greenlaw, which was awesome. Excuse me for the rant, but the signed Dre Greenlaw, but then Bryce Huff retired at the age of 27. What the hell?
Okay. Wow.
Super strange stuff there. Anyway, let's get back on the NBA train. Do you want to cover one more team, or do you want to go over to hot shooters?
I think we should. It'll be one of those teams that'll likely have blowout risk, though.
Yeah, actually, it's not. Well, yeah, actually, it's not. It's the Dallas Mavericks. We're in fourth place, 121.75 implied team total here. They're 5.5 point favorites. Though that line has shifted massively. It started as 1.5, now it's at 5.5. They're playing the Memphis Grizzlies. Over-unders at 238 here. Give me your thoughts on the Mavs.
Yeah, shift is because like they're literally everybody on the Memphis Grizzlies who has two legs is on the injury report. So, like I said before, there's like 8 guys, and Cam Spencer's the only one that's questionable. Regardless, the Dallas Mavericks have been interesting because they are like getting healthier as the season concludes, which is frustrating to say the least. The only guy that's on the report that's has been part of the rotation recently is Clay, and he's probably not going to play. So like the whole starting lineup is intact, and it has been now for the past couple of games here. I do think, with that said, it's a highly fast-paced game environment. We're hitting the 240 range or close to it. We know that the Grizzlies are a bottom 10 defensive rating team. We also know that they're allowing a ton of restricted area stuff and a ton of mid-range stuff, and that's going to profile really well for Daniel Gafford, who I know is hard to trust. And Cooper Flagg, obviously, is a guy that we can believe in. Both of those guys are doing well in those zones. Gafford more of the restricted area guy, Flagg more of the mid-range paint scoring guy. With that said, like I would have mentioned Najee Marshall here too, but his point scoring has kind of just gone down to the toilet now that everybody's healthy on this side. So I don't want to get super overexposed to a Dallas team in this situation given their health status, but it is a strong overall spot for Gafford, and I'll include Flagg here too. That's more of a zone scoring situation, whereas the Gafford stuff is basically like checking every box.
Yeah, am I wrong to get like super excited about this Coop spot? Like, I guess ever since he came back from injury, he has faced off against Orlando, tough defense. He's faced off against Boston, tough defense. He's faced off against Toronto, having to face off against Scotty, that's tough. And having to face off against Atlanta, where you have to face off against Jalen Johnson, that's tough. He's just had 4 like juggernaut matchups that are just like not ideal for him to come back from after not playing for a whole month. A month and a half or whatever it is. But I think this is a really good rebound spot where you see a really bad Memphis defense that you can kind of expose. Like I said, he's been pretty much like, there was this time at the beginning of the season where Coop was a good rookie, but not like putting up amazing stat lines. That's the Coop we've seen since he's come back. This feels like you could get the Coop that we had before the All-Star break, where he's putting up like 30 points and getting close to triple dubs and those type of things. So I don't know. I like the Coop spot quite a bit. Obviously, the Daniel Gafford spot is really good too. Like you said, that's the one that checks every box. But like the deeper dive on Coop makes me feel really good about this spot overall.
Yeah, the close spread, the high total, all that stuff helps. The pace of play, like the small little underlying boxes are certainly checked there. And like you said, like this is his first anywhere even close to like 15 and lower defensive rating matchup recently because Atlanta surprisingly is I saw it yesterday and I think it is today too. They're sitting at ninth in terms of our defensive rating model right now. So yeah, I mean it's a lot of tough matchups, a lot of pace down spots too, as Dallas runs at one of the quickest paces in the league. So yeah, I think we're getting somewhere with that for sure. I think that he's a guy that I would pivot to if like Wemby was announced out soon.
For sure. Definitely. All right. Anything else here? If not, let's head over to hottest shooters.
Let's move over.
Let's move over and cover some hottest shooters. Jared, I'll let you go first. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, I think that we just start with what we kind of covered earlier. Banchero, 40 plus PRA in 3 straight games, now gets one of the best, if not the best, matchups on the slate. So yeah, I think that you kind of just buy in there. From there, there's a couple of the things that are just all over the place. Like Campaign has recorded 22 plus PRA in back-to-back games because they don't have anybody else playing point guard or even ball handling in general. Jalen Duren has recorded 32 plus PRA in 7 of the past 10, and he comes into a great matchup today. Go from there. I got a couple others, but
Yeah, I was just looking at the 3-point market. There's a whole bunch here that feel pretty solid.
Yep.
Luka's had 4+ threes in 3 straight games. He's also had 4+ threes in 7 out of the last 10. Grayson Allen has had 3+ threes in 7 out of the last 10. Nikhil Alexander-Walker has had 4+ threes in 3 straight games and also 3+ threes in 7 out of the last 10. Last one I'll mention here and then let you get back to it. Derek White has had 3+ threes in 7 out of the last 10 and might see the best DVP matchup for that spot. So, or the best DVP matchup out of the guys that I mentioned at the very least. So lots of guys that are kind of doing well from 3-point range.
yeah, Luka's there too. 3 threes in 8 straight, 4 threes in 3 straight. From there, Fox has 30 plus PRA in 4 straight games. There was one though. Oh yeah, I mean obviously you got to include. I think you have to include Jamal Murray here, 34 plus PRA in 6 of the past 7. And then the last one that I wanted to mention is obviously you kind of just got to include Bam here. The 80 point game aside, he still has had 23 plus points in 6 of the past 7 games. So
Gross.
the 80 point stuff aside, it's still been 20 plus machine.
For sure. All right. Anything else here, Jared? If not, we'll head over to round table.
Oh, we can move on.
Let's move on. Let's head over to round table. For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I bring some of our top plays to the table to talk about. Those plays are in different statistical categories, and those categories are points, rebounds, and assists. We start out with points, like always. Jared, I'll let you go first. Where do you want to go?
There's a lot of really, really good point scoring spots on the slate, mainly the early part of the slate, too. I think that the Lakers one just kind of stands out as like the top overall at the very, very end of the slate. But when you look at the beginning of it, it's kind of just really, really good scoring spots against really poor defenses. We didn't talk about a lot of them because they just kind of fell down the implied team total list. But I do want to. I'll start by just going back to this Atlanta spot where we do get a massive situation for Onyeka Okongwu. I know that we still got to wait on some stuff like Kuminga and Dyson Daniels are both questionable, but he does get a beautiful DVP matchup where they've allowed the second most points to the opposing center position over their last 7 games. It's been a problem all year. And we know that Brooklyn's, while slow in terms of pace of play, they've been a team that just leaks points to the restricted area, which points to the scoring spot for guys like Onyeka, guys like Jalen Johnson, even Daniels if he played. So yeah, I do think if Kuminga and Daniels do not play, it'll be Okongwu who comes in as one of the bigger beneficiaries because he can score down low like that. And on top of that, no Sharp, no MPJ. among the guys that are sitting out for Brooklyn today.
For sure, I can certainly get behind that. Yeah, this solidifies the spot. Let's go with Jalen Duren here, man.
Yep.
I think that this is kind of, it's not banking on it, but like it's hopeful that Drummond ends up missing because who the hell else does Philly have to fill in center? Like, I think if they lose Drummond, they have a serious issue where it's like throwing Dalen Terry out there and trusting in Watford to play small ball center. And Duren can just dominate in those matchups. On top of that, Duren has had 19 plus points in 64% of games where the Pistons have won by 15 plus. They're 14 and a half point favorites tonight. When they win by 10 plus, he's hit in 63% of those games, 16 games altogether. So, or there's been 16 games where they've won by 10 plus. He's hit 19 plus points in 63% of those games. So I like the Duren spot, man. I know the blowout can always be worrisome, but it always helps when you can get a little bit of that reassurance by the props.cash filter there.
Yep, I had that on my list of guys there. He definitely checks the category of like, yes, blowout is scary, but he's probably the biggest beneficiary to why they would win by 20. So that's certainly in that realm of things. In terms of rebounds, we can kind of go a variety of ways. Like, I won't go here with Duren, but you can make the case that he's got one of the better rebounding matchups on paper. Where I will go, if we're not going to talk about Bam here, I can talk about him here. Like, I think that with wear out, I understand that the DVP for Milwaukee is a little bit wonky when it comes to center rebounding, but I do think that goes to transition directly to Bam. Milwaukee's been bad enough to the power forward position and a blend of the center position where I just don't think that they can stop anybody from that position, from those positions. So I'll go with Bam rebounds if we're not going to talk to him about points.
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely think that's a good spot there. I will go with, I was looking at Neemias Queta. Think I'll stay away from it just because
you can.
I don't know if I like the minutes that he played last game. I guess that was probably because of Wemby and all that stuff. But I think Neemias Queta is fine. But the guy that I do want to go to is I think Wendell Carter's in a really good spot. He's had good rebounding performances against Washington in the past. He just came off of an 11 rebound game where we highlighted him in the last show against Cleveland. You did that very well when we talked about that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Wendell Carter here. I like the rebounding spot. DVP is obviously a main factor here, but also Alex Sarr just kind of sucks. So as we saw in the last game, yeah, I like Wendell Carter rebounds.
Right. For assists, I want to go to one of the better spots on paper, and it was a spot that you targeted a couple of games ago, and it went really well. We'll go with Colin Gillespie for the Phoenix Suns in the pace-up matchup against Indiana. Phoenix is a 9-point road favorite, which makes me feel all right about the spot. We know that there's still a couple questionable tags that need to be decided for Indiana, and a couple on this Phoenix Suns side too. But I do think that while he might have taken a slight step back from the scoring in the last couple of games, it's because Jalen Green's getting hot now. Jordan Goodwin back in the mix a little bit. But I do think that the peripherals for this point guard spot really, really stand out on paper for Gillespie here, who still continues to almost average a double-double in the rebounds and assists category over the past couple of games. So Indiana has allowed the second most assists to the point guard position over their last 7 games. They've also allowed the most rebounds to that position in that stretch of time too. So all around really good spot for Gillespie.
Yeah, could certainly get behind that. I am going to go to this spot for, yeah, we'll go De'Aaron Fox here. I know I already mentioned it, but like the assist spot is just that good. Denver's giving up the most assists to the point guard position over the last 7 games. Fox is averaging the 23rd most potential assist, 11.6 per game. And I like the spot overall. I think hopefully Wemby ends up playing. That obviously solidifies this spot. Very good guy to pass it to at the end of the day. But even if he doesn't play, I think it'll just become a more De'Aaron Fox-esque game. I think I'll have the ball in his hands more and have more opportunities to make plays. So, yeah, let's go with De'Aaron Fox assist for my category there. Anything else you want to mention before we move on?
How do you feel about Cade's overall spot? I know we love Duren. Some of the DVP stuff is iffy for Cade. Sometimes it doesn't even matter at all. Like against Brooklyn, it just didn't matter. He just got there. I think the assist spot for him is decent, but anything else on the Cade stuff, like I can't really find too many arguments that he stands out as the top 10 play here.
I do like threes a lot. He's been really making an
Yeah.
emphasis to shoot the three recently. We've seen 9+ attempts in 3 out of the last 5 games. We've seen him have 3+ threes in 4 out of the last 5 games. That's a pretty significant difference. If you look over like at the last, I don't know, let's say 20 game stretch, he's had a total of 5 games where he's had 9+ attempts from 3-point range. And the fact that 3 of them come in the last 5 games just show a clear emphasis towards that side of the ball. 76ers allowing the 5th most above the break threes, or 5th worst defense against above the break threes is technically how we word it here. But yeah, I like the K3 spot, assist, rebounds, points. I don't know if I really get behind any of that, but the threes feels like significant. It feels like there's a shift in his thinking, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I wanted to double check that with the rundown just because at 9 games, like I wrote this spot up 5 hours ago, so I don't remember it. 2.7 field goals off 6 attempts in the last 2 weeks for Cade.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anything else here, Jared? If not, then we can head over to Two Minds Are Better Than One.
Nope, let's do it.
Let's do it. For those who don't know how it works, Jared and I go back and forth, each of us selecting 2 player props each. We put those player props into a parlay, and yeah, we hope to get our odds around +100 to +150. We play this over on DK Sportsbook. Did we get screwed last night? I don't
think
remember.
Durant even got close. Was that one of the?
Oh, no, it wasn't. But Reed was. He didn't get 2+ threes because of
yeah.
blowout, and quickly did not get 6+ assists. But I don't think I think I kind of screwed you over by going 6+. That was -216. Regardless, we're back at it today. Let's get a dub to end the week, Jared. All right, go ahead. You go first. Where do you want to go?
Where I'll go first, man. I really wish that I knew if Tyler Hero was playing, he'd be listed in here as a 3 guy. So if you see him get active for this game, I would encourage you to play that. What we'll do though is we'll just take Gillespie at whatever assist market you feel is necessary here.
Gillespie at an assist market. We can do that. Let's go with we'll go with 3 because 4 prices us out a little bit at getting it between +100 and +150. I'm going with 3s, and I'm going with Luka 3s. Let's go with 3+ threes for Luka. It's saying 3 a lot in the same sentence, but we already mentioned the spot a bunch. It's a really good spot for Luka overall. So we'll go for Luka Doncic for 3+ threes. All right, where are you going next?
Yeah, I think we'll just go and try to get. This is also the beauty of doing something like this is that we can play a guy who might get involved in a blowout, but let's go with Apollo to score what like 20+ points.
Yeah, let's do it. I love that Paulo spot so much. 20+ points. We'll even go 18+ points. We got room to spare here, Jared. I am going to go with a spot for Duren. I just want to find where I want this priced at. And can I get it there? No. We'll go with 15+ for Duren. In games where the Pistons have won by 15+ points, he has had 15+ points in every game except for 2 of them. So 9 out of 11 games. I imagine it'd be similar if you go wins by 10. Yeah, he's had 15+ points in 14 out of 16 games where they've won by 10+ points. I think they are going to resoundingly win against this Philly team, so let's go with Duren for 15+ points here. So altogether, we have Luka Doncic for 3+ threes. We have Colin Gillespie for 3+ assists. Paulo Banchero for 18+ points, and Jalen Duren for 15+ points. Altogether, it gets us at +135, Jared. All right, let's get out of here, man. Give me your final thoughts.
There's a lot of times when doing the rundown on this card where I was like, this player's in a really, really good spot, but X, which means like you can blow out stuff. Maybe the DVP didn't line up. Maybe some things just didn't go. We didn't like, injury report. So like, there's a lot of plays that could still be very good that I won't be excited about until we get information on the slate. So I'd get more excited about Luka if LeBron wasn't playing. I'd get really excited about Wemby if he played. I'd be really excited about Joker if Wemby didn't play, et cetera, down the board. So you're kind of hoping in the Orlando situation, in the Detroit situation, and even in the Lakers situation that these games end up staying close. And we've already reiterated that like guys like Duren can be the reason that if they go off, that's the reason they win by 25. Same thing goes for Banchero. And I do believe that there's a world where Banchero and Bane both get there, and they both smash, and that's what that's the reason they win by 35 tonight. So, yeah, I think that the slate's strong, and I just think that we needed to wait on a couple more things to really feel great about this, which is solid because we have another hour to wait.
For sure. I just wanted to look at this as you were mentioning the Banchero stuff. In games where the Orlando Magic have won by 20 plus points, which not saying they will tonight, but they are 15.5 point favorites. He has had 25 plus points in 4 out of those 5 games. In games where they have won by 15 plus points, he's only had 25 plus points in 5 out of those 9 games. Still, I feel like the spot's really solid for Banchero. One of those games was against Washington, too. He had 37 in that one. That might be his season. No, it's not his season high. No, it is. Yeah, 37 is his season high, or tied for his season high. So I really like the Banchero spot. Well, I really do think, after especially seeing all the media responses to Bam's game, I feel like there is an emphasis of like, gosh, if Bam could do it against this team, why can't I as a star player? So I think you will see guys come out there and like actually maybe not attempt to go for 80, but like attempt to really put up a lot of shots as a star player. So I like Banchero quite a bit. And I think there's a lot of good spots on this slate where maybe not a lot, but like there definitely are spots that feel good and feel like the research process checks out, at least at a preliminary basis that I do with Jared on these shows. So excited for the slate overall. Jared, you got anything else? If not, let's get out of here.
You'd have to imagine that Paulo like looked at his phone and then he looked at like he saw the Bam stuff and then he's like in the back of his head he's like, oh, we play the Wizards on Thursday.
Yeah,
like that's
got to be licking his lips.
And
just
on top
thinking,
of that,
oh man,
Trae Young didn't even play in that game that Bam scored in, which is honestly hilarious. Because if he was in and he had like a minus 30, like that would just be the icing on the cake. So Trae Young is playing today, and I'd assume that Orlando does whatever they got to do to put Paulo and Bane on Trae tonight.
Yeah, I would assume so. I will also say that like, on top of all this stuff, I know I've been shit talking Bam a lot this last few days. There's got to be a narrative for him to come out here and kind of overperform, right? Like everyone's shitting on him. Like I know he hears all these players hear the noise. All these players are around on social media, so like I'm sure he hears the noise. His chart looks so dumb on props.cash. My goodness, I just saw it for the first time, and it's gonna look like this all year because this is always gonna be here. Yeah, I think that there has to be a narrative for Bam in that same regard too. So some fun narrative stuff today overall. All right. Anything else here, Jared? If not, let's get out of here, man.
Now we can get out of here.
All right. Housekeeping notes. Don't podcast on Friday, so we will be back next week on Monday. Soon we will not have to worry about NBA, and it'll be MLB season. I was just thinking, man, it feels like it's the end of the season almost. It is not the end of the season. We still got a long ways to go, but MLB is right around the corner. Should be a lot of fun. Let's get out of here. Thank y'all for listening. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer, and we will see y'all next week.